Welcome back, everybody, to the Omniverse Comics Guide podcast. We are your Omniverse Comics Guide. Guys, I'm Eric. That's my pal, Dave. Dave,
Hello.
how the heck are you?
I am Heck.
How's it going, buddy?
Yes, man. Dude, I
No
am...
one pulls off heck as well as you do.
I am the Lord of Heck. Yeah.
You are. I'm excited for today's episode.
Why?
Top 10 fight scenes.
Oh, top 10 fight scenes.
You know what? Oh, yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Well, I'll get into... That's what we're doing this time. Special shout out to everybody that's with us on the Twitch live. We always appreciate our friends and folks who from all over the globe who join in and chime in on the chats. We appreciate your help throughout the podcast, fact checking us when we need it. People that are watching on YouTube, thank you for joining us there. Hit that thumbs up and subscribe button. We very much appreciate it. And of course, please visit omniversecomics.guide where you can find your reading orders, your collector item specials, and the rest of our podcast library is all there. Creator interviews, you name it, it might be there. It will be there. Not might. It will be there.
It will be there. And if it's not there yet, it will be there.
Exactly.
Dude, a little bonus. We've got about 850 followers on YouTube. So we're going to...
What?
Yeah, we're going to bump that up. And what we're going to do is we're offering... now, I'm wearing it under here. Can you see this? Can you see this shit? This is our Frightful 4... New Frightful 4 t-shirt.
Yo.
It's got Venom, Abomination, Sabretooth, and Vengeance on it. If you want an Omniverse Frightful 4 t-shirt, the colouring is by Thomas Mason, so it's my illustration with Thomas Mason's colouring. If you want one of these t-shirts, and I hope your size is large because that's what we've got, what you need to do is create a permanent post on Instagram, that's a real or regular post, or on TikTok, telling people just how amazing the Omniverse Comics Guide is and why. Maybe you love the podcast, maybe it's the reading orders, maybe it's everything. Tell them to follow us on YouTube so you can win a t-shirt. Include the hashtag Omniverse Comics Guide, tag 5 people and us, so we're number 6, and send us a link to tell us what you've done, you naughty little biscuit, to omniversecomicsguide@outlook.com, and we'll enter you into the prize draw to win a new Fantastic Four t-shirt, large. Get it done and sent to us by Wednesday, the 26th of March, and we'll announce the winner.
Awesome. That's great. I love it. I didn't know we were getting t-shirts like that. Dave, your artwork, you have nothing to apologize for, my friend. If I could draw like that, I probably would have tried to be a comic book artist instead of what I do for work. So good on you. And thank you for making those.
Sorry.
Pardon?
I'm really rusty, but thank you.
No, hey, man. Not too shabby. That's what I'll say. Top 10 fight scenes. I love these type of episodes. I love a lot of the episodes we do, but these ones specifically because we were talking about it before we went live. But a lot of times we do certain topics, creators, characters, whatever the case may be, and there's certain definitive writers or artists or runs that you have to mention to give credit to that topic, right?
Yeah.
But with fight scenes, every comic book has a punch in it somewhere. It might not be the big, huge fight scene of the book or the moment, but there's going to be some type of action. And for me, the way I prepped for this one is the stuff that just immediately comes to mind, whereas sometimes I'll go into my library and I'll read and try to like sift through, try to remember which books are worth recommending if they are as good as I remember. Sometimes they're not, right? But with a fight scene, even if you don't remember, if it's not as good as you remember, it's the fact that it made you feel that way whenever you read it that matters.
All right, I've got a question.
Okay.
Did you have a fight scene where your mind filled in the blanks and actually it wasn't as big as a fight scene as you thought it was? I've got one.
All the time. Every single one. Every single one is like that. Because some of them are from when I was a kid. And just the fact that I was so focused in on the pictures more.
Yeah.
That I remember kind of recreating those actions with my with my toys, or like I just made it more than it was on the page.
Or just some mud.
Yeah, whatever it was that you had, right? So there's some stuff that I've read recently where I'm like, ooh, that's a pretty good fight scene. I should make note of that. Or, this person versus this person. Bring it up. But yeah, I am excited about it because I feel even if you steal one from me, which is probably impossible because of how much there's to choose from.
Yeah.
There's so many that you could be like, you know what? This time that Spider-Man fought this guy, I don't remember the issue. I always remember the cover. I'll remember the moment where this was, that's the cool part about these top 10. So I'm happy
Yeah.
that we're making it an annual thing
Yeah.
because these are like mini speakeasies, if you will, where we're just like shooting from the hip of stuff we love. We always do. Whose turn is it? I think it's your
It's
turn
me.
first this
I think
time.
it's me. And actually,
I think so.
my first choice for tonight is a DC choice. And because my DC choices are normally kind of, I don't know, my knowledge is less than yours. I would say it's considerably less than yours. But
I
tonight,
don't know about that.
it's from Orion. No. No.
Really? Yeah.
No! Shit!
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
Oh,
ahead.
is it issue
Please.
5?
It's issue 5, my friend.
Oh, dude!
That's incredible. I
What
love
the
it. It's so cool.
chances?
I'm happy that it's being mentioned. That's great.
Oh, man. The guilt.
I'm not kidding.
For real. Okay.
So-
All right. Issue. I'm so
Can
sorry.
I interrupt you for 1 second?
Yeah,
I
go for
read
it.
this because I wanted to put it. I was going to pick this for the Cosmic episode.
Were you?
This run, yeah, and I wanted to reread it before I did, and just to prove to you that I've been reading this book while I fell asleep with the book beside me, my puppy chewed the corner of it.
No. Dude, you
Yeah,
and
the
dogs
first one
and
she's got
books
to.
don't mix.
They don't, but I'm keeping it because it'll be like a little memento of her chewing on the book
Yeah.
while I was reading it. But yes, this would have. Go ahead, please.
Well, I mean, so this is the build up to this is massive. It's like the first 4 issues all lead up to Darkseid facing Orion. It's by Walt Simonson and no one else because it's Walt Simonson. So Walt Simonson in the last top 10 fight scenes episode, Eric very rightly chose the Midgard Serpent fight with Thor. So Walt Simonson writing and drawing, and every page was a 1-page splash, and it was just beautifulness, just iconic. It was just gorgeous. That's the way comics should be. This time, a little different. So there's all sorts of Kathrak, Shazam, not Shazam, obviously, because, you know, different meaning.
Yeah.
I'm trying to read them all out.
If you know Walt Simonson's fight scenes and his what's the word, onomatopoeias? That's the word for sound effect.
Onomatopoeia,
Word sound.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a part of the art
Yes,
when
very
he
much so.
includes it.
I mean, you can
It's
see it a lot
very
in his
unique to his style.
Very much, very much so. It's if you look at the start of his Thor run, if you're only a Marvel person, that Doom element runs through. The build up to Surtur first appearing is all about Doom, and the way it fits in, the way it slots into the page. The artwork is part. The onomatopoeia is part of the story. You're absolutely right. It's a really good point to make, actually. This is Orion versus his father, Darkseid. Daddy versus son, and in this battle, a winner is decided.
The New Gods are a very interesting crop of characters because they're so weird. It's like, what's the right angle to take them? Because John Byrne's Fourth World precedes this.
Yeah.
Like, it's the story that leads into this.
Yeah.
Simonson's Orion. It's very philosophical in some cases. It's zany, like Kirby would want it to be. He's good in that arena of finding a way to sink his teeth into the parts he wants to. And I guess, like you said, Orion, you imagine it to be the analog of Thor because of the relationship with the deities and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's there. There is similarities
in
for
a
sure,
whole
but
different
it's not the
way.
same.
He understands the
Yeah.
characters are different. One of the great things I think about Kirby, I think we have mentioned this before, so apologies if you've kind of heard us say this before. But one of the things I love about Kirby's Fourth World is that it's like he unleashed it, and then if someone else wants to pick this up and kind of interpret it your own way, great. But I could do it with his accent. Someone wants to kind of interpret this. I sound like you. If someone wants to interpret this your own way, go do it. Do your own thing. And that's basically what he did. That was what he did. If you hear interviews with Mark and Evania about Jack Kirby, his whole thing was like, this is not set in stone. There's a very weird thing about comic fandom and going, this isn't Todd McFarlane's original intention for Venom. It's like, well, maybe it isn't. But he doesn't own the character, so tough shit.
Yeah.
So, whereas with the New Gods,
exactly.
Kirby's intention was to unleash them, and someone else to take them and run with them, and that is the nature of mainstream comics.
First issue I'll go with, comes from the J. Michael Straczynski Thor run. This is issue 3. So I think at this point it's like a resurrection of the Asgardians pantheon.
Yeah.
They haven't really been around. Thor's coming back. So this is a good jumping on point for anyone who wants to, like, where's a good place to start reading Thor? And it might interest you enough to look at all the good stuff that had come before it. But Thor has been away for a number of years, I think at this point would it have been in the Marvel universe, that he's gone for a while. He's been missing. He wasn't a part of the Civil War, and when he was included, it was like a disrespect.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, it was a clone, completely disrespectful to his memory to use him or even his personage in that way. And he's pissed off about that when he finds out some of the things that happened while he's been gone. And I'm not sure what it is, but the Civil War Tony Stark from that point onward, I love seeing him get beat up.
Yeah.
And
it's almost like designed
Thor,
to be beaten up.
Yeah, just there's something about, even when Bucky does it, I almost picked that issue where he has a bone to pick with Tony at the same era. This is all happening kind of around the same time
very much
frame.
So. Yeah.
But this one-on-one with Tony and Thor, it's so satisfying because for something like this to have fractured the Avengers and the whole superhero community, but it's also his name has been desecrated, if you will, in the way he feels. He really puts Tony in his place. It makes you realize, like, Thor, he's not one to be trifled with if he really wants to let you know.
Uh-huh.
Right? Like when he gets angry, the way he's feeling towards Tony right now, I was genuinely afraid for Tony, but I also felt like, yeah, give it to him. It was very satisfying. Very, very satisfying.
He does have an opinion. I think that's a weird thing. People think of him as like the big dumb blonde with the hammer. And he's got an opinion. And that was the whole point of the character, you know. If you look back at the character way back at the beginning, the whole point was he's going, I say thee nay. I say, like, I disagree with you. I don't agree with you, Odin.
Yeah.
And he gets sent down to Earth. And that is kind of his character arc, his entire history, you know. It's like he's an obnoxious prick. But sometimes he's an obnoxious prick who's right. And that's what makes him kind of interesting.
Oftentimes.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil the ending, but it really humbles the guy with all the tech.
Yeah.
Who feels like the Inspector Gadget of, I've got a solution for everything with my technology.
Does an umbrella
it's
come
like,
out of his,
yeah, you know what?
Or propellers come out of his head.
Yeah, like in this case, Thor really humbled him. And I think at this point, Tony's tech was, I mean, anytime you read Iron Man, he's always at the cutting edge of technology. But at this point, he had the extremists.
Yes, he did.
Basically. Yeah. So this is like very high proficiency or efficiency Iron Man.
Yeah.
You know, so for Thor to humble him was like, that's cool.
Yeah. That
there's a guy that can just call lightning and make you remember who's the god and who's the ant. Dave, numero dos, take it away.
Okay, my numero 2, it's from Marvel Knights. It's something that a lot of people might well have read, may not have read in a while. It's from Punisher number 4, which is collected in this omnibus and also a series of trade paperbacks. It's also on the Marvel digital app, Unlimited, the creators behind Preacher. This is the Punisher versus the Mob. Okay, dude, I'm going to ask you a question. What do you do when you run out of ammo?
Throw your shoes.
Not far off. The correct answer is use a zoo. So this is the Punisher using a zoo to beat the Mob. He was scoping out Marnucci's gangsters, and the last thing he was expecting is for one of them to make him out, but they do. So they chase him into a zoo, and he's just got, I've got no guns. I've got nothing. So he uses the zoo against the gangsters. This is a guy using polar bears to kill his worst enemy. This is great stuff. Great story. Great series. 12 issues. If you haven't read Garth Ennis's Punisher, please do. Don't read that one issue alone. You can do if you want to, but read the whole run.
My numero dos. All right, I'm going to pick my other Marvel choice for the evening. We've done a book club on this book, and it is the Amazing Spider-Man issue number 30.
4.
It's found in the Coming Home trade, the Michael Straczynski again. Michael Straczynski, another pick from him. Amazing Spider-Man versus Moreland. This was the one time where I was reading a series for a character that I had read plenty of, watched movies, cartoons, etc., where I knew he wasn't, because it was a complete collection, he wasn't going to die. I knew that. But as I read this, I'm like, oh, this is the guy that kills Spider-Man. How is he going to beat this Moreland character? And the mystery around it was very compelling. But when you get to the fight scenes with him and more, what I remember about it specifically is how beat up Peter is when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
Mind, body, and soul has been tattered more than I had ever remembered prior to. Maybe in the Green Goblin fights or whatnot, where he's like literally escaped by the skin of his teeth. Like, this is a sweet spot for, I think, Spider-Man continuity. But this fight, it just always stuck out to me.
There's so many great fight scenes in Peter David's Hulk. I'm going to do one tonight. It's in Incredible Hulk 369. It's the Hulk versus Freedom Force. So it's the first issue drawn by Dale Keown. It's the Hulk versus Mystique, Blob, Pyro, Crimson Commando. These are like they're like a lower tier mutant team. In this issue, they're basically sent to bring in the Hulk. But this is the Grey Hulk. And he's one nasty mother. So what he's going to do is take the piss out of everyone he's fighting while he's fighting them. There's one moment where he faces the Blob. So he grabs his stomach and he pulls it. Like, no one's done that with a Blob before. The Blob is like, he's immovable. You can't move him. If you push him, if you punch him, there's nothing you can do. So he leaps at him. He leaps at him while he's holding two extended parts of his stomach. What happens next? And this is the best part. It's like, this is creativity. This is genius. Peter David writing the Hulk. It's all about kind of going, what's been done before? What can be done better? What can be done differently? If you want to read the Hulk against various different characters, and this is, when I say the Hulk, I mean the Green Hulk, the Grey Hulk, the combined Hulk, kind of Professor Hulk. All these different versions and how they deal with different enemies is completely different. And this is a prime example.
Yeah, that's a good call. Peter David's run on the Hulk is it's necessary reading at some point in time.
Our top 5 posts at the moment are as follows. At number 5, it's Green Hulk, Red Hulk from 2008 that kicks off the Red Hulk era. At number 4, the 1984 event Secret Wars from Marvel. Number 3, Batman features in City of Bane, complete reading order. Number 2, Invincible, covering 2002 to 2018. Doesn't yet include Battle Beast, but we're working on it. And at number 1, pretty much as always, Ultimate Spider-Man 2000 to 2018, featuring the Ultimate Universe version of Peter Parker.
Like I say all the time, Dave's reading orders are second to none. All right, back into the countdown. Let's. You need to use? Sure,
Okay.
Go for it. Go ahead. All right, let's do it. Number 3 for me. I have been recently catching up on some Wonder Woman, specifically by Greg Rucka, his first time around.
Really?
The Amazonian princess.
Yeah.
So I've always heard good things about it. And again, it's in that sweet spot of time where both companies are about to go into some pretty great creative moments. And his run on Wonder Woman was a good one. I felt like at first when I read the first couple of issues, it's really leaning into her being an ambassador. And it wasn't as action heavy as I would have anticipated, but it definitely picks up. I might mention this series a few more times this year, depending on how it ends off. But in this story, there's a big conspiracy of trying to tear down Diana, Wonder Woman. And there's a few players involved in it that it's like the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And that sort of consortium is being put together within this series in different ways. But one of the showdowns in the middle of the series is leading up to Wonder Woman versus Medusa. they really build up this fight, and the desire that you have for Wonder Woman to take her out grows exponentially because of something that Medusa does. And if you remember the mythos of Medusa, if you look at her, you turn to stone, right? So Wonder Woman has to approach this fight. It's this showdown. The gods are basically saying, hey, this is the type of battle that requires you to be in an arena. There's going to be witnesses, and it's going to be to the death. Very much like the Orion Darkseid fight. And they go into a baseball diamond. So the whole
Really?
baseball diamond is just Medusa versus Wonder Woman
Really?
having this. Yeah. It's televised globally.
That's so random.
They televise it globally to see. And Wonder Woman goes into it blindfolded because she can't look at Medusa or else she'll turn to stone. So all of the instincts, all of the training that Wonder Woman has had over the years as a Amazonian and being the warrior, the ambassador, the part of the Justice League. And now this is around the time just before Infinite Crisis where her character gets called into question because of the lengths she's willing to go to stop the enemy. And this is one of those moments where Wonder Woman's put in that position, and the fight is pretty epic between her and Medusa. What follows because of what happens keeps you turning the page. Very, very interesting stuff. It comes back, like the result of this fight comes back to help her in a way. Yeah, it's a very good series. Highly recommend Wonder Woman from Greg Rucka, his first time around. Go ahead.
Okay. My number 4 tonight is Preacher, 36 to 37. This is the Saint of Killers versus the US Army. Now, if you haven't read Preacher, it's a vicious, malicious, relentless series about a guy who's inhabited by the offspring of an angel and devil, and he has the power to tell people what to do, which is a massive oversimplification. This is an incredible series. One of the best series of all time. But the main character, Jesse Custer, goes and has a chat with the Saint of Killers and tells him why his family died. So the Saint of Killers is, for all intents and purposes, a Wild West version of the Angel of Death. He's a cowboy who is unkillable. It doesn't matter what moment you hit. Like, this is midway, and you think, like, it can't get bigger than this. It gets bigger than this. This is midway, and it's one of the best battle scenes. I mean, this guy kicks a tank. That sounds ridiculous, but it's not, 'cause it's the Angel of Death, who's a cowboy, kicking a tank.
Nice pick.
Thank you.
All right, I'm on number 4. I love this issue. Could be my favorite single issue of all time, just because of the nostalgia connected to it. It's Action Comics number 600. John Byrne, George Perez teamed up for an anniversary Superman issue featuring Superman and Wonder Woman being dragged into a Darkseid plot. And who they fight is each other. I like when heroes fight each other, clearly. But it's done in a clever way. And, of course, you've got George Perez on art doing what George Perez does in his heyday. And John Byrne in his heyday, very much so. And you got this plot twist where Darkseid has pitted Superman and Wonder Woman against each other, and then for a moment shown his hand that he's got 2 of his mercenaries disguising themselves as Superman and Wonder Woman. And then at one point in their little fight, so they're on different sides of like what they call like a glass mirror. That's what a portion of the issue is called. So Superman is fighting who he thinks to be Wonder Woman, but their characters are very off. They are not acting like themselves. So they can realize, like, that's not really you, Diana. And then it turns out to be Amazing Grace. And then Diana is fighting Superman, and she realizes, wait, that's not you. And then he reveals himself, and it's Calabac the whole time. This is a Darkseid plot. And then they switch back into Superman and Wonder Woman, respectively. The villains do. So Superman and Wonder Woman are under the impression that they're just fighting somebody who's an imposter until they cross paths and they end up fighting each other. And the pages go silent. It's just action scenes with Darkseid's face in the middle of the panels, just laughing. And as a kid, there was no words on the panels. There were no words at the time on these couple of pages. I think it's like 2, not splash pages, but just action sequences of Wonder Woman, Superman in a what seems to be battle a battle room that is reflecting Themyscira, because she's on a quest looking for Hermes. I won't spoil how it ends, but as a kid, it was just like, again, watching your favorite toys.
Okay. Alan Moore wrote this fantastic series called Captain Britain well before he wrote Watchmen. This is about a hero who doesn't want to be a hero. From Mighty World of Marvel number 12, Captain Britain and Captain UK versus the Fury. And it's one of the best end battles I've genuinely ever seen in comics.
Him being one of the most celebrated writers and that indelible impact he's had with something like this, especially because you were saying he worked on Marvel, something I was over my head. So I'm always interested of where to kind of pick.
I think it's him not trying to impress.
Got you.
Which is
Got
way
you.
better.
Right. Which I think is one of the things with a writer like him. You either love everything he does, or it could get pretentious.
Yeah.
But when they let go of that pretentiousness, then, the fun ensues. So my fifth pick, I'm going back. This is like almost the New Gods episode, it would seem. It's another Darkseid fight, but this time it's Superman fighting Darkseid. And what's so fun about these battles is that it's the one time where Superman can let go and give it all he's got. This particular fight, drawn by Michael Turner, and it's the moment where him and Darkseid face off in the last part of that series. I wanted to save this fight scene specifically for this episode because, similar to Thor, when Superman gets pissed off, and in this series he's really touched a nerve because Kara is his only family now. He's got a connection to his home, so he's extremely sensitive of everybody being very suspicious of her. Darkseid has kidnapped her and has his eye on taking her out. Check it out. Superman versus Darkseid. The gods are not on our side, but we fought them. This was a battle. This was a battle scene on our own. Dave, you good?
Yeah, you?
I'm fantastic. It's always wonderful to hang out together.
Likewise.
Everybody, be sure to check out the Omniverse Comics guide, where you can find all of our reading orders. Some of the things that we've discussed today, there's reading orders for them. We've got all our previous podcasts, and we will be back soon, everybody.